So I wanted to make this video to talk about my experience with TMAU because I feel like at this point I don't really have anybody to really vent to. I mean, it's just been really frustrating this last week. I definitely hit my breaking point mentally regarding this issue. And before I get started, I just want to say that I believe my TMAU, it only affects my breath. So when I talk about what I've been experiencing, I just want to let everybody know that I think it's only on my breath. So I noticed that I had a really bad taste in my mouth for at least, I want to say 4 years, but it didn't become a problem until about 2 years ago when I started a new job. It's not so new now, but it was at one point. I started a job as a cashier, and while I didn't notice any huge signs, or really, like, nobody ever said anything. Even up until this point, no one has ever said anything to my face about my breath or my smell. But when I started, I didn't notice any signs that I had that the bad taste in my mouth meant that I had bad breath as well. But after a while, I started to pick up on things that, eventually things started to click, that doesn't seem right, or why did they do that, or, what's going on here. But I started to notice that after a while, people would come in, and they would come to my line, and they would always, like, pinch their noses and, like, breathe deeply, or it sounded like they were holding their breath, and it didn't pick up on it right away, but after a while, and then I started to notice that the customers would do it, and then I started to notice that my, coworkers would do it too, and we have, like, hand sanitizer over by the registers and stuff, and one girl someone who trained me, she would always use hand sanitizer, and at first I thought it was, she just doesn't like to touch the food or the raw meat, but then I started to realize that she would only do it when she would stand next to me, or when she would face me, or when she would be around me, which was really weird. And I would notice that whenever they were facing me, or we were at registers that were facing each other, they would always turn around, which isn't something that they do with other people. And then it started with that, and then I became a bit more standoffish. Like, I'm a very introverted person in general, and very quiet, and then I started to, I would pick up on it, and so I would try to isolate myself from them, and I think that they felt upset by that, oddly enough. Like, they don't want me to stand next to them, but they don't want me to be away from them either. And then I started to notice that every time they would walk by my register, they would be feet away from me. They would wipe their noses, and they would sniff, and they would put their heads down, and, and then I was like, and it became clear to me that they were mocking me, and that they were doing it as a way to make fun of me, or, I don't know, send hints or something, but it wasn't. It was really upsetting, and it's been going on for months now. And I think that the breaking point when it started to become like a serious problem was about a year ago. This girl that trained me, I liked her up until this point. I thought that she was talking about me with my coworkers, and they were talking about me, about my breath and stuff, and then, because I was on a register far away from them, so I could only see that they were talking, but they weren't facing me. They were, like, huddled in a group, and I just thought it was really weird. and I don't know if it was just my insecurity getting to me or if they were really talking about me. I'll never know. But when she went to leave, she said, "Oh, good night, China," or she said good night to me, and I ignored her. I shouldn't have done that, but I ignored her because I thought that if she was talking about me, why would she come over and say goodnight? I don't know. I just ignored her on her way out, and I think that really upset her, which caused her to, I don't know, like, I guess she was really upset, and then that upset everybody else, how I upset her, and then everybody started doing it, like people who weren't even in my department, who weren't even cashiers, just people that I've never even seen before would come over, and then they would wipe their noses, and they would do all this crazy stuff, and they would sniff, and they would, it's been driving me crazy. And you know, not yesterday, but the day before yesterday, one of the managers, one of the frontline supervisors was like standing behind me, and I swear she was holding her nose while she was standing behind me, and it was just like a really bad day, and I started to tear up, and it was just awful. And like the girls, like they would snicker at each other, and I don't know if it's just all in my head. I want to say it's all in my head. I really, really want to believe that it's all in my head, but I know for a fact that everybody in that store has made fun of me at some point. And it's just awful. And I had like a really, really horrible day 2 days ago, and then I went in last night around 4, and I was just, before I went in, I was like, I need something to help me get through the day. You know, I can't do this on my own, and I'm sorry, and I regret this, and I'm just so upset at myself. But I took some medication that wasn't prescribed to me, as an attempt to help, like calm myself down. It turns out that these pills were not like it wasn't the purpose of those pills at all. So, what I thought was going to happen, I thought I was going to be like lightly sedated and I'd be able to get through the day. I wouldn't be nervous and I wouldn't cry. But I ended up just getting really dizzy and sick, and I had to go home anyway. So I didn't make it through the day as well as I thought it would. So work was really bad. But everybody was concerned, so I guess, that maybe the next time I go in they won't be so rough on me. But I know that if I stay there long enough that it's just going to happen again. And I don't know what I'm going to do. It's like, I want to quit, but my pride won't let me quit. And, my mind is like, I'm exhausted, I can't do this anymore. I don't want them to feel like they won, as bad as that sounds. I want to be able to hold my head up and just go through the day and just ignore it, but honestly, I can't. At this point, I'm just at a really bad point right now. And it's worse because I feel like some of the people that I work with are now sending in people that they know to come bother me. I mean, I know that it might sound paranoid, it probably sound crazy, but I definitely feel like somebody is sending people in to just mess with me. Because last week, one of the girls that I work with, she wasn't there, but when you shop at the store, you have to give the cashier your card, and you can't shop without a membership. So when I took the membership card from this person, it was a guy and a girl, a couple. I flipped it over, and the name on it, it wasn't their name. It was the name of that girl's father that I work with who trained me. And I'm like, that wasn't her brother. He was too old to be her brother. I don't know who he was to her, but it wasn't her father, because I've seen her father before. I've seen her mother before. They both come in before. Her brother used to work with us, and another brother used to come in. Like, it wasn't, as far as I know, immediate family. And they're, like, I swear, like, he didn't do anything, I think because he knew that I recognized the name on the card, because I flip it over, and then I went to give it back to him, and then I flipped it over again, and I was like, I know that name. That's so-and-so's father, who works here. And maybe they just wanted to try it out. I don't know for sure what they were doing there, but in my head I'm thinking they were there, and they came to my line just to mess with me. And then, like, a week before that, I saw another person who had the same last name as her. And I swear I've seen her uncle before in the store, and it's just like now it's getting really bad where people, I feel like they're sending people in just to mess with me. Because my parents come into the store too, but everybody knows who my parents are because my dad works with me. And my mom, like, they're always saying, oh, they'll either come to my line or they'll, like, everybody knows who they are. They know that my parents are my parents, but this person, like, they don't say anything. They don't mention this person. They just come in and, like, it's so weird. It's so weird, but, I've just been having, like, a really bad week. I just wanted to, I don't know what I'm gonna do at this point. Like I said, my pride is too strong to quit, but my mind is like, you gotta quit, you gotta do something, you've got it, I can't rise above it, I don't know how I'm gonna manage to do it. And it's hard when it feels like even the managers, even the bosses are in on it, because nothing is too petty for these people, I swear. Like, nothing is too low. This place is like a hellhole. But I don't know what I'm gonna do. I just hope that I can get through it. I know that I'll get through it. It's been 2 years, I gotta hang on. It's just embarrassing. I don't know.